Okay, guys, today is the 17th of February, 2024. Um, it is day 76 of my juicing. So 76 days straight on juicing. Um, it- it's hard to explain. I guess I want to start with this is that I did not, when I started doing this juicing, I wanted to make it clear that juicing is not the end all be all. There is a purpose in juicing for me. um Everything I do has a purpose. I did yoga, and it was helping me immensely because I injured my neck and my back in two places um when I had that last brain injury that precipitated all of this YouTube stuff I've been doing for the past almost 2 years now. um And so anyways, I did yoga, and I found that modality, and it really it was life-changing. I mean, it straightened my spine out, it was taking the pain away, it was doing all kinds of things, but I realized that because there's this power that you give to something else, because you're supposed to, go like this and then whatever. These movements, those movements were specifically designed in this way to give power over to something else because because I also did was doing some real deep meditation where I'd call a light in, and that light would shine a beam into my chest, and my chest would fill and with this light, and which was a very surreal experience as well. And at that time when I was having these experiences that were, I guess you could say, otherworldly, just because there was some other kind of higher power, not higher power, but some kind of, it seemed like me a, I guess at the time, a higher power, but it didn't seem like a higher power. It seemed more like a manipulation. Like, being a highly traumatized, abused individual with a highly, from my childhood, and then, having a highly narcissistic, um, manipulative, conniving mother, you get a sight into the background of how systems of control work. You get a real deep sense of how these systems of control work. And it gives you this feeling. And I got that feeling when I started facing, because I was feeling great doing the yoga and the breathing, and I was doing a couple other things, but there just something wasn't right. And the first thing that popped in my mind about something not being right was, the fact that when I, between the ages of about 10 and 14, right around in there, just begging for God to save me, begging for God to take my life. I mean, my abuse was so horrid and just disgusting, and like psychologically and emotionally and spiritually, like traumatizing. I mean, just really bad, man. You know, when your reality is skewed and manipulated, and but you're told so certainly by a person who's in charge of you that all of your pain can end if you just agree to their manipulation and their twisting of facts, and their appearance that they're putting on reality. And that it's how this world has been controlled, through the family systems. And but for people like me, neurodivergent, autistic, you know, these types of people are very honest and can't deal with those types of things. It I was suicidal. I was literally crying on my knees. I just remember for years, day after day after day after day after day after day, I'd be out in the woods just crying by myself, just begging, begging God, and just begging anything, just something, please. And so when this light came, and these healing energies were coming from the yoga and the meditation, and that's the first thing that popped in my mind was, if these things are so benevolent and kind, and they are a higher power, and you know they're so powerful it's beyond our imagination, that they can shoot this bright light into us and make us better, and do all the, send this energy coursing through our bodies. And I'm like, where were they when I was a child, being severely abused and manipulated and forced to accept lies and illusions and somebody else's construct of reality? And then I just think, where are those things for all the billions who suffer right now on this earth? Right now, billions of people suffering like that, like unbelievably. Like, you can't, if you have not ever suffered like that, you couldn't even imagine. Like, if your brain was able to switch over at a young age and you were compliant, and now you suffer from Stockholm syndrome, and you support your parents who obviously brought you into these abusive systems, and are just acted as agents of the state and never really loved you because they never loved themselves, and they don't not your whole family system doesn't even know what love is. So you were able to just, your brain, had that governor on it to be able to stop thinking and to stop processing, and just, go into automaton robotic stage and be programmed and downloaded onto their manipulations and illusions. And then, thereby continuing and perpetrating and propagating, this whole mess, which is the matrix. If you suffered that kind of traumatizing abuse, there's billions of us right now on this earth today suffering like that. And where are these benevolent white lights? Where is this benevolent healing energy? And so I said to myself back then, when 7, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, 10 months ago, whenever it was that I quit doing the deep meditations and yoga, and I said to myself, well, is it because we didn't call on this exact power? And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Because if this is really a higher power, then it should know, like, it should be able to help no matter what. Like, even though I was calling on the God of the Bible to save me and help me, it should have still, it's an energy. All it is an energy. So, like, it should have been there. It should, there's no reason. So, in other words, either it's not that powerful or it's not that benevolent. It's one of the two. It's not that powerful, or it's not that benevolent, or it's both. And I think it's both, actually. So, because otherwise I have to gaslight myself. So I'm sitting there, in my last yoga session, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Richard, do you really, you're on this healing journey. You almost died. You should be dead. You have a chance to figure this out. You have a chance to be courageous. You have a chance to see what this is all about. You have a chance to not be mind wiped, not to die in this physical body and then be mind wiped and then be brought back here and have to, try to figure this out again. You are on the cusp of figuring this out. And to sit here and give your power over, because I just had this feeling that we were powerful, I had this feeling just because what I went through and I survived through, and the billions of others on this earth surviving through these things. And I'm like, man, that takes a powerful being, and not just in one way, in many ways, an extremely powerful being to be able to survive these things, and not only survive through them, but then to be able to continue on a life and function and have a family and do all these things. So it just made it so much clearer to me, like, I'm not going to consentingly bow down and worship anything outside myself. Nothing's there for me unless the only thing that's going to be for me outside of myself to save me, to help me, is a predator, is something that's going to want something from me in exchange. And having lived my whole life like that, I was like, no more. I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm alive. I have one more chance to make this right. I have one more chance to try and figure this out. And then, because I'm responsible for bringing 3 other lives into this world, and then to be able to share that answer, share that truth with those 3 lives, and hopefully give them the key to their prison that I brought them into. And that's why I quit doing yoga, and that's why I quit doing meditation, because I saw the control mechanism there. And the way I was able to see that was through my severe childhood trauma and abuse, and being raised by a complete conniving, predatory minded woman. Now, granted, I'm not saying my mom was an evil demon. I just think this is what happens to people who suffer trauma and abuse that's never confronted and acknowledged and talked about. They build up their walls, and then they have to create the world around them in order to protect themselves and their emotions and their mental state. And I see that pervasive throughout society. And so when I started this juicing, because I realized, even if it was just 2 people watching, even if it's just my kids watching, I've been saying this ever since I started this juicing, because I want to make sure that the things that I'm doing and I'm saying are not steering people in the wrong direction. And now people can take whatever I say and they can go in any direction they want. It's their own perspective and the way they choose to view things in the fantasy lands that they live in. But my main purpose is to just be so dedicated to the truth, no matter what, that I'm very cognizant and aware constantly of what comes out of my mouth. And so when I started juicing, I made sure to make a point that even at the beginning, juicing is not the answer. It's not going to save me. I can't just juice and, still plan for a retirement and a savings account, and, I can't juice and still participate in vote in rigged elections and give these politicians my attention. I can't juice and still, worship these invisible entities and gods and and gaslight myself and, you know, think there's a higher power. I can't juice and, you know, be so addicted to entertainment and rigged sports and watching the Super Bowl and then going and talking to everybody else around me and spending hours propagating and perpetuating the illusion and other people's enslavement in these breads and circuses. So it's a full thing for me. This isn't just about juicing. It was just the right time for me to start juicing because I had realized, that I need to clean these. I realized that I had parasites. I realized how these parasites work. I realized how they were controlling my emotions and my thoughts and my behaviors, thereby controlling my behaviors. And I realized that that was the next important step, that I had to rid my body of these toxins and these parasites. And I figured, it would clear out my brain fog and clear my system out in general, clogged arteries and clogged digestive tract and, clogged mental processes and clogged everything, right? And man, I'll tell you, in the last couple weeks, man, it's really like coming to fruition, that part of the healing process through the juicing and clearing myself out. As on the other channel, Embodied Souls, I've been doing that Fundamental Foundation for Freedom series. And, I've realized it's just become secondhand to me, all this stuff. And, this isn't stuff I went outside myself to learn. These are things that are inside of me, that are inside of you, that are the truths. This matrix would have us believe that there are no truths in this reality, in this world, that everybody has their own truth, that everybody has their own opinions, that everybody has their own beliefs, and that everybody is correct, and that we all have to just accept each other. And it's all an illusion. There are solid truths, and they're inside of each one of us. And if each one of us were to be completely honest and courageous and face our shit and lay it all out on the table and detach and not owe these things, whether it be yoga or meditation or breathing techniques or our parents or, a pastor or a politician, not owe them, not feel like we owe them our body, souls, and mind, and that we couldn't have done it without them, but that we need to realize our innate power, and that the powers that be are literally controlling us by getting us to, they programmed us to willfully poison ourselves every day, all day, and run off these indoctrination programs that make us believe that we need these things for survival and for health and to prove to ourselves and others that we're worthy. And it's all part of the scheme. So, the juice, so day 76 of juicing, guys, unreal the amount of clarity I'm reaching, the connections I've made, the articulation, the anxiety. One thing about anxiety, yes, it's helping with the juicing, but the anxiety is also being, so another part is not just the juicing, it's being constantly present and aware, which I've been focused on and daily, moment by moment, trying to remain at every given moment in the present, in this awareness right now, and know what, I don't have it completely imbued into me yet. I still find myself occasionally reminiscing or pondering the future. But man, I've gotten so much better, and that's really helped. I noticed, I was thinking about the day with my anxiety. I mean, I had crippling anxiety for years, on and off. That's why I would drink so heavily, towards the end, especially of my drinking. And then, I was smoking smoking weed from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and smoke. I was smoking a ton of weed, big ass bong rips all fucking day, one right after the other. I mean, when I went to work smoking bong rips. I mean, just everything I could do, just to deal with that anxiety, and to have naturally gotten rid of that through no modalities, no supplementation of dopamine hits, no finding something else to take my mind off my anxiety. I did it by confronting every thought that's been racing through my head for the past 30 years. I've been doing it by confronting those demons that I thought were so scary. I've done it by confronting these monsters under my bed that I thought were always there waiting to get me if I, rolled out of bed. I confronted all the lies I've told, all the manipulations. I've confronted my own abuse that I've passed and trauma that I've passed down to others. I confronted the guilt and shame I carried for bringing, 3 other lives into this world, and 2 of them being highly abused by their mother. And my job as a father was to protect them, and I always thought I did, but I was a lost child, scared child in an adult's body that was so addicted to a mind-numbing agent, for me, alcohol, sex, and whatever else, drugs, work, anything, to just numb myself to the reality of things. And, it took getting real and facing everything, and refusing to give up my authority to another, and refusing to bow down and worship anything outside myself. And then taking that personal responsibility and getting rid of my addictions, my meat addiction when I was a carnivore, my sugar addiction, my, alcohol addiction, my cigarette addiction, my sex addiction, my entertainment addiction, my work addiction, my clinging to safety net addiction, And it took me giving up all of those things and taking that personal responsibility and facing those fears and those doubts and those worries, and then bringing myself to the ever present, calming my mind down, calming my heart rate down, calming my soul down, crushing my ego, being courageous and not giving a fuck what any other philosophy, religion, expert, teacher, leader, guru says, but just going off of trusting myself. And I have found the most peace, the most unbelievable peace I never imagined I would ever have on this earth. The calmness, I don't know, I wouldn't call it tranquility. I would say, there's moments of tranquility, but I'm still healing. I still got a ways to go. So, it just lets me know how far I've come, and man, what's in store is just absolutely amazing. And, Man, unreal. So the juicing, my bowel movements, is part solid, part, runny. But it all just still seems to be backed up stuff that's been in my gut that I just feel like it's clearing me out every time I have a bowel movement. I've been having one bowel movement a day every day, for weeks and weeks now. But I had yesterday I had three, and I think that I know that's because I was working at my job. It's like a fucking workout. I mean, you're bending over, you're moving constantly, you're in all these weird positions, you're using you're using your power, your force. It's like a workout. It's like a full body workout. For hours and hours and hours. So yeah, I was getting really bad stomach cramps 2 days ago because I worked 2 days in a row, Thursday and Friday. And Thursday, man, my stomach was cramping so bad. I was like, oh my God. I mean, it was it was horrible for like 3 hours straight. And what that was all that movement had helped those juices to work, and break stuff up, because then yesterday I had three bowel movements. So, just that as a note is, I've been living very, very sedentary, for the past 3 months, especially, 2 months, especially, I'd say past 2 months, I've been living very, very sedentarily. And, so that movement really helps. We all are going to have our own things, and you got to trust yourself, because over the past couple months, I'm like, Richard, let's work out. Richard, let's do this. And I'm like, my big thing that I have to deal with is anxiety and thinking I have to do. So I had to face that anxiety by forcing myself not to do and remaining calm and, allowing that to work through my body and realize that no, we don't have to do. We don't have to do. That is a sign of avoidance, or control. It's either savior mode or, avoidance mode. And, so my main priority for the past couple months has been to not do and just be sedentary, which is extremely hard for me. It's easy if I'm drinking all day, and just passing out in the middle of the day, waking back up, drinking again until I pass out that night and do that all day. It's easy to be sedentary then, but being sober and especially feeling so much better and so clear and energy and everything else, it was difficult. So I had to face that first, but I just want to make a note that, the movement does really help with the juices, so if you're going to be on juices, if you do some light exercising and abdominal twists and things like that, it's really going to help move that clog and break up that plaque that's lining your digestive system. It's really going to help all that move out of your system. I'm on day 76. I mean, I'll go another 30 days, 60 days. I don't care, however long it takes, until I know inside of me that I'm all cleared up and the juice has done its job. Once I know the juice has done its job, I'll be off the juice, because I'm not worshiping juice. The juice is just literally serving a purpose right now. And the juice allows my body, it gives me the energy, it's helping flush. Okay, the juice is working for me in a few different ways, and this is what's really nice about the juice. The juice, over dry fasting or water fasting, we have so many toxins built up inside of us from all of the processed foods, the fake foods, the animal meats, the that are washed, your animal meats, if you're buying it from the grocery store, all washed in these unbelievable chemicals. Then of course, the chemicals they spray out of the planes and the skies, and then, the just the sprays that are everywhere, and so all these chemicals, right? So we're loaded down with toxins if we've never flushed before, if we've never gone an extended period of not intaking anything in our bodies, we've never given our bodies that time to expel these toxins. So the juice is wonderful for working those toxins out of the body and getting them out. Whereas with the water and the dry fasting, I think you can do that, but man, you are going to have some severe like detox. Like if you're going to straight up try that with water or dry fasting, I mean, the only way I could have done that was I would have had to been like in a solitude, like away from society for a month, and just done a straight month of that. And I'm sure it would have all worked its way out of my system, but like just because the stress triggers all that, the stress of having a job, the stress of the noise outside, the stress of not being constantly present and aware and thinking I got to do, or regretting the past, or dealing with your childhood trauma, or dealing with coming to the realization of the complete illusion we're living in. It's just too much stress on the body, with your body being so toxic. So the juice is great for moving the toxins out. It's great for breaking up that plaque in the digestive tract, giving you the energy that you need to get through the day while going through those things. What else is the juice? There's a couple other things the juice is really good for. I mean, juice is also good, giving solid foods are just so hard on your digestive system. So, when you're trying to clean yourself out, that juice that is like, it takes hardly any energy at all. Solid foods take 70% of your body's energy to digest, whereas a juice, not a pasteurized juice from the grocery store, but a homemade fresh squeezed juice is, full of biophotons, and it takes, it's not even taking that much energy, if any at all, from the body. It's giving the body energy. So it's a perfect fuel, to do this detox on. But as soon as I'm done, I mean, this juice is going. I'll do it again, probably, maybe, but where my mind is I see that, we are such powerful beings, whole, undying, all-powerful, all-knowledgeable, empathic souls, intimately connected to all other things in that sphere of existence, that occupy the most advanced biological thing on this earth. And so you're taking two of the powerful forces, most powerful forces I know of in the universe, besides other people's made up bullshit that they want you to believe, so that way you'll worship some fantasy ass god that's supposedly all powerful and does nothing for anybody. So we are a combination of the two most powerful things in this world. And the soul connects us to the whole spirit realm, and the highly advanced biological entity we inhabit is connected to everything biological. So it's like, holy shit, man, there's no fucking way that we're meant to be consuming. Like as your mind clears and you are beating these addictions, you see the unnatural process of relying on and thinking you need to put something in your mouth and then it goes down here, and then your stomach goes and then and all these things are working to pull all these things out of it to give you energy, and then it moves the rest of it's all waste matter, and it moves through 30-40 feet of fucking intestinal tract, and then it has to get expelled. It just doesn't make any sense, guys. Like I can see now so clearly that is all a bamboozlement. It's all part of the matrix program that was imbued into us to make us ultimately, no matter how far we get in our healing, just fall back on that. Well, you need to eat. You need this outside of you. And it's the guys, the more I experiment with this and the more clarity I gain from clearing out these toxins, the more I realize how much of a lie that is. We are so unbelievably powerful and have been held down so much. And the other thing I want to point out real quick is that, because I got to piss, and but I want to add this in there. So this, what's coming to me now, what's been coming to me now in the past week is deep empathy, extremely deep empathy, and being able to just look at the situation humanity's in the world and know how much pain and suffering and how people are keeping themselves entrenched in this matrix because the programming that we're on is just so deep, and it really hit us all at birth and prior to that, depending on how much of abuse and nasty shit our mother ingested and the stress she was under. And so, like, just to see, like, for us to be able to come out of all this and be here at 44 years old and is a testament. I mean, guys, you have no fucking clue how powerful we are. I'm this deep in my healing, and I'm seeing every day I'm getting more in touch with that, with my true essence, which is all of our true essence, because I believe, from what I can tell, we are all one in this fucking exact same when it comes down to it. We are all souls occupying a biological avatar, every single one of us. And I'm not talking about whatever celebrities are and whatever politicians and people running this world. I don't know what the fuck they are. I don't know if they are or not, or if there's some kind of control, they're the controlling power that's, part of keeping us manipulated. I don't know. I could care less. I'm just saying the rest of us guys are so intimately connected, and the reason the food is so hard to give up for me is because it is the last thing I had that was numbing me to the reality of our situation, in the reality of how bad we've been abused, traumatized, and manipulated and coerced into consenting to our abuse and giving up our power. And so now when I get these food cravings, I don't get them as often as I was when I went through that heavy detox. I told you guys when I went through that heavy detox like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, however long ago it was now. I mean, cravings all fucking day. I don't deal with it like that. It comes to me maybe 3-4 times a day, maybe. And when it does, it's so emotionally attached. These foods are so emotionally attached to feel-good moments that I had with friends or family, or, just emotional things and connections that I had. And I'm seeing that, man, I must be on a real deep part of my detox right now, because that when I can clear that part of my detox out, I think those cravings, that'll be my addiction gone and busted for sure. So yeah, doing great, guys, doing really good. So much clarity, so much better articulation, so much fog is gone. So many things, but just want to give a quick update. I gotta piss, so I gotta run. I probably still talk, but best wishes to everybody. And just remember, guys, there's no one modality. You are the most powerful thing. It's just you've been held down and toxified, and you just got to do what you have to do to cleanse yourself. It's that way you can realize your innate power and what you were born with that was stolen from you, and you've been lied to and manipulated, and an illusion placed over you, making you think that no matter how much you healed, there's always something that's going to control you. There's always something that you're going to need outside yourself. That's a complete lie. Take care of yourselves, guys. Nobody else will.